بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
That after abandoning all of the haram enjoyments, haram, right? After abandoning all of the haram ladhat, all of the haram enjoyments, all of the haram passions and temptations, it is only then that I have reached your doorstep, O Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is actually a manifestation of a hadith that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam mentions, that hujibatin naru bishahawat. Hujibatin naru bishahawat. وَحُجِبَتِ الْجَنَّةُ بِالْمَكَارِهِ. The Prophet ﷺ mentioned that the fire has been veiled with shahawat. In other words, if the doorway and the gateway and the pathway to reach Jahannam is to follow all of the haram temptations, whether it's sexual desires or intoxicants, or all of these things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made harmful for us and has commanded us to the sunnah of His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, to the Quran, to stay away from those haram temptations. حُجِبَتِ النَّارُ بِالشَّهَوَاتِ. Meaning the hijab of the fire of Jahannam is what? Shahawat. Meaning the way to reach Jahannam very easily. Follow every shahwat. Follow every desire. You understand? Follow every desire, whatever instinct. Three things Allah has instilled us. Very important to understand. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has instilled every human being with three quwwat, with three sifat. Three sifat, three quwwat, three potentials. Every human being is born. Muslim, non-Muslim, everybody that is born, this is programmed inside of your genetics. This is programmed inside of your body, in your DNA, automatically. Number one, it's called Quwwatul Malakiyya. Quwwatul Malakiyya. You're automatically programmed to have the angelic qualities. Angelic qualities. What are the angelic qualities? The angelic qualities are sabr and shukr and taqwa and piety and righteousness and dhikr and dua and mercy and rahmat and generosity and kindness and goodness and prayer and dua. You know, you get this desire, you want to go help someone. You have a desire, you want to show mercy to someone. You have a desire, you want to go feed the poor. Where does this come from? This is Quwwatul Malakiyya. It is that potential, the angelic qualities which every human being has been endowed with. If you work on that, that is what will become manifest. If you work on your Quwwatul Malakiyya, if you follow that instinct, follow that impulse. You get these impulses. You see a poor person, you get the desire of giving that person money. Don't you feel it? Don't you get that feeling in your heart? Give that guy $1. That's okay. And then you get another voice. Yeah, you know what? That guy should get a job. You know, you get that a conversation going. That's the malaki, the angelic side that always wants to do good, always wants to do righteousness. And then you have number two on the list. Quwwatu shaytaniyya, the devilish qualities. Everyone has that inside of them as well. What are the devilish qualities? Plotting, planning, scandal, jealousy, anger, me, myself, and I. It should be just about me. I have to have the spotlight. Love of position, love of status, love of these type of shaytaniyya. Quwwatu shaytaniyya, all the evil qualities. Now, a person, if he works on that and he follows every single shaytanic impulse, his nafs tells him, plot that person, be jealous of that person, hurt that person, backbite that person, and then he just obeys. You know? His wish is my command. Whatever the nafs wishes, whatever the shaitanic impulses they tell you, you just go and do it. If you work on that, then you will become, subhanallah, what Allah Azza wa Jal mentions in the Quran, shayateen al-jinn wal-ins. There's not only shayateen al-jinn. The Quran says shayateen al-jinn wal-ins. There's shayateen al-ins, human shaitans, that they have no capacity of good. Allah put capacity of good in them, but they didn't work on it. Allah put in them the capacity to do good. And those impulses, when you keep calling and calling and calling and calling and nobody answers, then you leave the door. You keep knocking on the door, nobody answers, what happens? You leave. Or you're going to stay there by the door. Camp out there. It usually doesn't work that way. So when these angelic impulses, from the time that a person is young, they keep calling and calling and calling and calling, do good, pray, righteousness, taqwa, hifz, zikr, Quran, dua, tilawat, piety, righteousness. You don't listen. Then what happens? You're listening to the shaitanic call. And you open the door and you let him in. That's going to be your guest. He's going to be your companion. The angel's not going to be your companion. The devil is going to be your companion. Because that's who you invited. That's who was knocking on the door. And that's who you invited inside. And then what does Allah Ta'ala say? وَمَنْ يَعْشُ عَنْ ذِكْرِ الرَّحْمَنِ نُقَيِّضُ لَهُ شَيْطَانًا فَهُوَ لَهُ قَرِينٌ. The one who turns away from the zikr of Rahman. The one who doesn't answer that call. The one who doesn't obey that desire and that natural impulse to make the remembrance of Allah Ta'ala. To make dua, to remember Allah Subhanahu Wa Ta'ala. What happens? Shaitan will take over. فَهُوَ نُقَيِّضُ لَهُ شَيْطَانًا. And then the shaitan will go knocking on the door. And then when you respond to him, he becomes your companion and your guest in the house. So this is the second one. قُوَّةُ الشَّيْطَانِيَةِ. And my dear brothers and sisters, this is from a very young age. You should watch your children. We see the shaitanic impulses in them as a parent, as a father, as an older brother. Guide them, tell them, no, this is not good, my son. This is not good, my daughter. No, baby, we don't do like that. We share. Don't take somebody else's doll. Don't take somebody else's toy. We don't do that. We share. From that young age, we have those impulses. They want to take away what we like from other people. I was recently in the prison, talking to some of the prisoners. We had a program at Salinas. One of the brothers who was in death row. We spoke to him, and what did he say? How did I end up in death row? Because I wanted the finer things in life, and I don't want to work like a dog to get it. You understand? I want the finer things in life, and I'll take it. I don't want to work for it. I ain't going to work like a dog to have the finer things in life. I will take it the way I want it. And he held up an entire family, duct taped them up, killed a couple of people, very sad. And he says, well, it is what it is. But the point being is, that is something which was an impulse, and it was something that existed at that young age, that a person may not had a mentor or somebody tell him, you don't just take whatever you like from people. You cannot do that. You don't take whatever you like, and if you want something, you got to work hard to attain that with effort. You have to earn that. You can't take that. This is something which is so childish. That mentality, what he said, that is a child speaking. That is not an adult speaking. That was a child that was never made tarbiyah. That was a nafs that was never rectified. That was a character that was never reformed. Watch your children. If you make tarbiyah of your children properly, wallahi, they will not need any shaykh. I guarantee you. You be their shaykh. They will not need a shaykh. Make your islah. Learn the diseases of the heart and the flaws in the character, and watch them in your children, and with muhabbat and kindness and love and compassion, slowly make their tarbiyat. Tell them, no, my son, this is not what little girls, they love to be beautiful, isn't it? أَوَمَنْ يُنَشَّأُ فِي الْحِلْيَةِ. Allah Ta'ala says about little girls, they are raised up in what? In adornments and jewelry, and they love those things. So from a young age, I always tell my daughter, I say, my daughter, you're so beautiful, but you become very, very ugly. You know when you become ugly? When you become a bad girl. From a young age. When you start yelling at your mommy, saying to your mommy, I'm not going to do this. I hate you. I hate this. I hate that. I hate that. And you start throwing your things. Oh, you were very pretty, but now you became very ugly. Do you like to be pretty or you like to be ugly? No, I like to be pretty. I said, no, lipstick doesn't make you pretty, mommy. Lipstick doesn't make you pretty. Your necklace doesn't make... When you have good akhlaq, and when you're nice to your mommy, that's when you become pretty. Yeah, and it works. From a young age. From 5, 6, 7 years old. And now, girls, they don't hear that. You become pretty when you walk around naked. You become pretty when you wear a miniskirt. You become pretty when you wear lipstick. Well, that's what they're going to do. And they're going to have the worst character, the worst akhlaq, selfish, jealous, angry, badmash. But I'm very beautiful. You're not beautiful. You're the ugliest human being. No, none of your lipstick makes you pretty. Makes you ugly. Every time my little daughter, she'll wear the hijab, I said, now you're so pretty. You've become so beautiful. This is the job of the father. This is the job of the murabbi. They won't need tarbiyah when they grow up. Otherwise, we have big 40-year-old kids saying 5-year-old things. They're 40 years old. They're talking like a 5-year-old. Is the guy in death row, he's 60 years old. And he's saying, when I see something I like, I take it. Is that something that an adult says or something that a child says? Do you understand my point? You get the point that I'm making? Is we will, the way that we get to the doorstep of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the way we reach Jannah, is by leaving all of those things that is harmful. The shaitanic qualities. So we had the Quwwatul Malakiyah, we said, right? The angelic qualities. You have to answer the call or he's going to leave you. Shaitanic qualities. And then lastly, the animalistic qualities. Do you know what's the animalistic qualities? The stomach and the private parts. Bas. और उसका कोई फिक्र नहीं है. لا هم ولا غم بعد ذلك. البطن والفرج. هذا هو همه وغمه. He wakes up in the morning like a dog or like an animal, that the stomach and the private part. True or false? So that's what a dog does, right? First thing in a dog or a bear or a deer or a cat, whatever it might be. The hum and the gham of that animal is what? My stomach and my desire. And he doesn't stop until he gets there. However, a believer, yes, that is something which every single one of us have. But that should not be your hum. That should not be your gham. That is your necessity. That is your necessity. It is not your life purpose and objective. Our life purpose and objective is not our stomach. Our stomach and our desires, that's one of our necessities. Once the necessity is fulfilled, mashallah, we go back to our objective. But when that becomes your objective, that becomes your purpose, that becomes your all in everything, then what happens? Then you live according to the impulses of the stomach. If the stomach says this, I want this right now, give it to me. It says, jump. You say, how high? I was explaining to the brothers in the prison, I said, if we look at the 5 pillars of Islam, the 5 pillars of Islam that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us, the 5 pillars of Islam that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us, what is this? This in reality is to control these 3 qualities. How? Let me explain it to you. We have the shahadatain. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah. What is this? The shahadatain in actuality is telling Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, oh Allah, I am submitting myself to you and I don't submit myself to no shaitan and to no nafs. You are my master. That's point number 1. The allegiance. That you have left the allegiance to nafs and shaitan and you have made full allegiance to Allah Azza wa Jal. My Shaykh Hazrat Maulana Shah Hakim Muhammad Akhtar Sahib Rahmatullah Alayhi used to say, he said, look at that dog that doesn't have a master. Look at the dog who's a runaway dog, who's a stray dog, who doesn't have a master. What happens? All the kids in the neighborhood are throwing a rock. Everybody in the neighborhood is throwing a stick, throwing a rock. Bichara doesn't even find any food to eat. Isn't it? When you see the dog in the neighborhood, a stray dog. And then you have the dog that is under the master, in the house of the master, obedient to the master, on the leash of the master. Some of them eat better than we do. Purina cat chow and dog special dog vitamin vitamin B and all the other protein, and they get all this other stuff because he's completely subservient. So when a person has completely submitted to the master, what happens? Then the master looks after you. You have peace. You're at ease, just like that animal. And then when you're what? When you're a loose cannon, you don't want to remain in submission. You don't want to remain in taslim to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then what happens? Then, har jagah mein wo dhakke khate hain. Har jagah wo jate hain, wo dhakke khate hain. Wherever he goes, Sadi Shirazi rahmatullah alayhi said, Azizi ke az dargahish sar betaft, ba har ja ke raft hech izzat nayaft. Azizi ke az dargahish sar betaft, ba har ja ke raft hech izzat nayaft. He says that Aziz, that noble person who came away from the dargah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who abandoned the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Azize ke az dargahish sar betaft. The one who ran away from his master. Then what happens? Bahar ja ke raft hech izzat nayaft. Wherever he went, he didn't find any izzat. Wherever he went, everywhere he went, wo dhakke khate. And then the one who Allah keeps him, then nobody can touch him. Jisko Allah rakhe, usko kaun chakke. The one who Allah will keep him, then who can touch him? The one who Allah keeps him, who can touch him? You understand? The second thing is the salat. This 5 daily salawat, what does it do? It enhances your quwwatul malakiyah. The angels, وَإِنَّا لَنَحْنُ الصَّافُّونَ وَإِنَّا لَنَحْنُ الْمُسَبِّحُونَ. The malaika say, we are always in safs. We're always reading tasbih. Some of them are in sajda. And some of them are in ruku'. And some of them are sending salawat on the Prophet. And some of them are making istighfar. And in salat we have all of the various different a'mal of the malaika. وَجُعِلَتْ صُفُوفُنَا كَصُفُوفِ الْمَلَائِكَةِ. When you stand up in namaz, and when you stand up in prayer, you are imitating the angels that are in the rows and in the safs. So when you are actually praying, what does it do? It enhances the quwwatul malakiyah. Is everybody understanding the correlation? Number 3. What's number 3? Fasting in the month of Ramadan. What does fasting in the month of Ramadan do? Right? Kasru shahwatain. Fasting in the month of Ramadan is kasru shahwatain. It's the breaking of the 2 desires. Al-batn wal-farj. It's the breaking of the desires of the stomach and the desires of the private parts. That on normal circumstances, when the stomach says jump, you say, how high, master? Isn't it? But then in the month of Ramadan, when the stomach says jump, you say what? Just wait a minute. Just wait a minute. Iftari time is right around the corner. Subhanallah. In the month of Ramadan, the whole world comes to know that the Muslim doesn't even obey his own nafs. The Muslim doesn't even obey his own stomach, his own self. There you realize that we are the true slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are answerable to somebody else. The nafs can wait. The shahwat can wait. The desires can wait. The stomach can wait. This is the commandment of Allah ta'ala in the month of Ramadan. It breaks these desires. It brings down the animalistic qualities and it enhances the angelic qualities. Because the angels, they don't eat. And that's what we do. We're fasting in the day and we're praying Taraweeh in the night. Where this one comes down and this one goes up. Allahu Akbar. And then, what is it? Zakat. What's next on the list? Number 4. Zakat. What does zakat do? Zakat, it kills the quwwatu shaytaniyah. What is shaitan? Hirs. Greed. Shuh. Desire. Selfishness. Greediness. And when you're giving that of your money, what are you doing? You're breaking that desire. You're breaking that greed. You're breaking that selfishness. And you're learning how to be caring, how to be selfless, how to have compassion, how to have mercy, how to have sakhawat, how to have generosity. Breaking the shaitanic. وَمَنْ يُوقَ شُحَّ نَفْسِهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. And the one who is saved from the greed of his nafs, he is successful. This is zakat. And then finally Hajj. Hajj is the culmination of all of them. Hajj is the angelic qualities, and Hajj is breaking of the animalistic desires, and breaking of the ananiyat, and humbling oneself, and breaking oneself, and spending in the path of Allah Ta'ala, and praying and making tawaf, just like the malaika are making tawaf of Baytul Ma'mur. 70,000 malaika are constantly making tawaf of Baytul Ma'mur. وَالطُّورِ وَكِتَابٍ مَسْطُورٍ فِي رَقٍّ مَنْشُورٍ وَالْبَيْتِ الْمَعْمُورِ. Allah takes a qasam by Baytul Ma'mur. What is Baytul Ma'mur? Baytul Ma'mur is the Kaaba of the heavens, directly under the arsh, that 70,000 malaika are constantly making tawaf of that place. When we go to Hajj and we go for Umrah, we are imitating the malaika. You are at one with the angels. The rahamat and the fuyuzat and the barakat is descending from Allah's arsh, and the du'as of the malaika is coming upon you. And lastly, what? The Hajj, right? So we can see all of the 5 pillars of Islam is to do what? Is to balance all of our, as Shah Waliullah Muhaddis Dehlawi Rahmatullahi mentions in Hujjatullah al-Baligha, Quwwatul Malakiyya, Quwwatul Shaytaniyya, Quwwatul Bahimiyya. These 3 istidad that every human being has. What Allah Ta'ala has given in Islam is to balance these things. That when a person's animalistic qualities be ghalib, when a person's animalistic qualities is ghalib, then what? Oh man, he's a beast. He becomes a what? Beast? Is that a compliment? Beast is now a compliment. When he becomes so animalistic, oh man, that guy's a dog. Hey, what's up, dog? Calling each other dog and cat and beast and God knows what's up dog and what's up cat and what's up beast and chara dekhi janwar gashta, haywan gashta. Is that a compliment? When the animalistic qualities take over, yeah. And when the angelic qualities becomes ghalaba, like the women who saw Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam, what did they say? Ma hadha bashara in hadha illa malakun kareem. They saw the nur in Nabuwat. They saw the beauty and they saw his light and his piety and his taqwa. He said, this is not a human being. This is a malak. He's an angel. And also, you know, when you hold a little child, what do you say? Oh, a beautiful little angel. Why? He doesn't have sins. He's innocent. He's masoom. He doesn't have sins. So he says angel. Isn't it? Allahu Akbar. And then a person where his whole purpose, he doesn't sleep at night except plotting, who am I going to stab tomorrow? Tomorrow, who am I going to stab in his back? This person becomes shayateen al-ins. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said there are certain human beings, they are shayateen al-jinni wal-ins. يُوحِي بَعْضُهُمْ إِلَىٰ بَعْضٍ زُخْرَفَ الْقَوْلِ غُرُورًا. That they inspire one another, they incite one another, they encourage one another to do what? To do shaitanic acts. Oh, let's plot this guy. Let's hurt this guy. Let's do jadoo on this guy. Let's, damage this guy. Let's break this relationship. Let's break up this husband and wife. Let's break up this family. Let's make these 2 brothers and sisters fight. Let's make these 2 brothers fight. Who are these people? Complete shaitan. Shaitan, bar shakle insan. Shaklish insan waris, lekin khudish 100% shaitan. Shaitan bau sar manda. Do you understand? Shaitan azu yad migire, shagirdi mekana peshish. Day and night. Ke filani eto kado, filani oto kado, filani chara oto kado. Isn't it? They're constantly thinking about plotting and planning. This person did like this, and that person did like this, and he said this, and she said this, and why did he do like this? Oh, did you see him do like that? Constantly in this plotting and planning. Pure shaitan. It comes in one hadith. It's a sahih hadith. That the shayateen, right? The soldier shayateen, they go and they give karguzari. Understand? They give karguzari to Amir Sahib. Iblis, lanatullahi alayh. They go give their karguzari to their Amir Sahib. And they say that shaitan has his throne on the water, on the ocean, to imitate Allah Azza wa Jal. So they say all of these Junudu Iblis, they go and each one of them are giving their story that this is what I did, and this is what I did, and this is what I did. So he comes and says, what did you do? He says, I just made a guy steal something today. He said, boring, next. Bring somebody else. You didn't do anything. That's boring. Next guy. The next person comes and says, what did you do? He said, I made this, this thing happen. I made this person commit a sin. He said, no, you didn't do anything. This is also boring. Next. Third, fourth, the person comes, he said, what did you do? He says, I made a husband and wife separate. He says, anta. Anta. This is the word in the hadith. Maulana, the word in the hadith says, anta ant. You are the one. ثم يتوجه. هذا لفظ الحديث. ثم يتوجه يعني يجعل التاج على رأسه. الشيطان يجعل التاج على رأس هذا الشيطان الذي فرق بين الأزواج. الذي فرق بين الأخوان. This is the one that shaitan يتوجه. The one who separates between two brothers. The one who separates between husband and wife. This is the thing that shaitan loves the most. And there are certain people, their bread and butter, their life, the purpose of their life, despite the fact that they pray namaz, they make zikr, they read Quran, but their purpose of life is how I get involved in making two people fight, making two people separate, making two people get an argument, being involved in the scandal, being involved in the debate, Bhai, what is this all about? Leave this. This is shaitanic. Ruin your salat and ruin your... Shaitan is not going to tell the namazi, leave your namaz, leave your salah. Shaitan is not going to tell that person who is a dhakir, leave your dhikr. He's not going to tell you, don't fast in the month of Ramadan. He's not going to tell you, don't go for umrah. He's going to encourage you to do those things. And at the same time, your meter of ghibat and your meter of plotting and planning and talking crap and doing all of these things and fighting and being involved in the thick of those fights, in the thick of those arguments, he will make you be right in the middle of that. Because this is the thing that he loves the most. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spoke about the hurmat of khamr, what was the specific thing? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't mention so much about the intoxication. That's a given. Everybody knows that alcohol intoxicates you. But there was a specific thing that shaitan has planned. Shaitan doesn't care, you can be as intoxicant as you want. There's a specific objective in why he wants you to become intoxicated. Listen to this. This is from the Lataif al-Quran. Make tadabbur in the Quran and you'll find these points. It doesn't say shaitan wants to make you nasha. Nasha to hai. That nasha is going to come. What does he want? Why does he want you to be nasha? إِنَّمَا يُرِيدُ الشَّيْطَانُ أن يوقع بينكم العداوة والبغضاء في الخمر والميسر. Shaitan wants that you fight with one another. Shaitan wants that you hate one another through gambling and through alcohol. Understand, if that is what shaitan's ultimate purpose is, then what about those people that are getting involved in that without the khamr? You did shaitan's job really easy. Shaitan wanted that this alcohol be used so I can get Banu Adam to hate each other, to fight with one another, to kill one another, to have enmity with one another. So brother and brother, they don't see eye to eye. That's why that one of the objectives of alcohol is this. He wants to use this to do this. But if you're doing that without alcohol, salamat, jazakallah khair. Thank you. You're doing it without the alcohol. You made my job easy. With your namaz, you're doing it. With your zikr, you're doing it. With your namaz, with your zikr, with your tilawat, with all of our dua and everything, our jang, our hatred, our jealousy, our fighting. Al-Baghda يوقع بينكم العداوة والبغضاء في الخمر والميسر وأن يصدكم عن الصلاة عن الذكر عن ذكر الله وعن الصلاة. This is what he wanted. وأن يصدكم عن ذكر الله وعن الصلاة فهل أنتم منتهون. This is what shaitan's plan is. He wants to make you fight. He wants to make you hate one another. He wants to make you forget the zikr of Allah. He wants to make you forget the namaz. So will you not stay away from it? Don't you see his plan? I'm telling you what is his plan. So now what if you're doing that without alcohol? You're falling right into the trap without even going inside the trap. When a hunter, they make those traps and they catch the beavers and stuff. And they put it like that. What if the beaver is getting trapped without the trap? The hunter is so happy. The hunter will be so happy. He's putting himself dead right there before he even gets to the trap. He used alcohol to catch you in the trap. And you're throwing yourself, you're playing dead. You're already in the trap before you can even enter the trap. How much shaitan loves you. May Allah Ta'ala protect all of us. Keep reading. That was just a side note. Just read the one. So the point was, the way to get to the gateway of Allah, the way you get to the gateway of Allah Ta'ala is cut all of these temptations and shahwat and ladhat that are haram. When you cut that, you have reached the gateway of Allah Ta'ala. Read that again. Hazrat